Yes, thank you. So we're going to move into some quick fire sessions now, and the first one out the blocks. We're looking at expanding the streaming TV portfolio to power total video buy-in. Here to tell us more, please give a round of applause to Rose Hutchison.
All right. Good afternoon, media people. Okay, Sue promised me that this is going to work, so I'm assuming it's just click forward. Okay, I'm Rose Hutchison. I am the Senior Director of Advanced Advertising and Insights at Rogers Sports and Media. And today I'm here to talk to you about Total TV. But first, I'll get the kind of salesy stuff out of the way. So Rogers Sports and Media, we are a premier broadcast, streaming, and content company. We reach 30 million Canadians monthly. We have all the best amazing brands and environments for your campaigns. So Disney+, Sportsnet, City, now Bravo, so much more and more to come. So as I mentioned, I'm going to talk today about Total TV and share with you some of the insights that we have from running over 50 campaigns in a Total TV approach, and that's streaming and linear together. Before I do that, I want to ask the audience a question, and I'm not asking for your participation, just think about it in your head. And if anybody is a fan of New York Times connections, this is kind of the theme. So what do murder, Taylor Swift, and hockey all have in common? So think about it, and I'll give you some options for answers. Okay, are these examples of great entertainment? Are they my favorite things? Or are these the top viewed broadcast moments of 2024? So the answer is, of course, all three, but I do want to double click on that last point. So the top viewed broadcast of 2024, so these are linear results. So what I want to share with you, Law & Order Toronto premiere on Citytv was the highest premiere for a scripted drama series in Citytv's history. It drove an average minute audience of 1.6 million. The Grammys on City hit an average minute audience of 1.8 million. Again, the highest it's been in 6 years, and it was actually 34% higher than last year. I mean, we can obviously attest to probably the Taylor Swift effect there. And finally, Game 7 of the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs between the Oilers and the Panthers drove a staggering audience of 6.5 million Canadians. So nowhere else other than linear TV can you drive these kinds of consecutive numbers. So these are concurrent views of the Canadian population, and these are just the linear figures. I'm not even adding in the streaming. So what is my point? Am I here today to convince you that linear TV is still the top tier media platform? Yes. And I'm also here to talk to you today about how you can embed streaming into your strategy to drive even better results. So I think we've talked a lot today about how linear and streaming have to come together. I think if you are working in the environment of video, you probably have similar goals. You want to maximize your reach. You want to reduce frequency or control for frequency. You want to drive efficiency. You want to do better targeting. I think we can all agree that you can no longer just buy linear TV to do that or just buy streaming to do that. You can't even really do that in isolation. You have to do it together. And so what we know to be true through our research study, Full Stream Ahead, that we conduct annually, and we take a pulse of the Canadian market on their streaming behaviors. So what we know to be true is that almost half of the Canadian population are watching video content across all of the services and devices and screens. We call this group the complex modern viewer. They are extremely hard to reach effectively and efficiently because it's so fragmented. Now, the other group that's not called out on this Venn diagram, but is definitely a part of it, are the exclusive streamers, and they represent about 28–29% of the market. So a full third of the market are people that you definitely can't reach via linear TV, and we know that to be true. We've heard it a lot through the different data sets that have been explored today. So again, what is my point? My point is that you can no longer buy these platforms in isolation, and you can't just buy one or the other. Linear and streaming have to come together. They are the perfect match. So how are you going to accomplish these goals? How are you going to bring it together? Total TV is the multi-platform approach to linear and streaming that drives results. So it's about bringing the two platforms together so that you can get better outcomes overall. Again, reach, frequency, efficiency, targeting. So there are two key metrics that we look at when we examine campaigns under the microscope of Total TV. The first is total reach, which is the total unduplicated reach of the audience between the platforms. We do this by normalizing the digital data and match it to an average minute audience for linear. So we get to a total reach number, which we'll dive into. The second metric that we look at is exclusive streaming reach. So as the name implies, it's how much of your streaming budget actually works to reach those exclusive streamers. What are we doing to unduplicate the efforts against that audience? So let's dive into total reach. So what I'm about to show you is an aggregate look of the over 50 total TV campaigns that we've run and analyzed to date. So this is looking at an average audience reach for adults 18 plus on the national scale. So if you were to take, for example, a linear TV budget, and you only ran linear TV, this is what your typical reach curve would look like. So what you can see is you get immediate impact and reach with your linear dollars, but what you also might notice is that that reach curve begins to plateau, and your ability to gain incremental reach becomes harder and more expensive. So if, for example, your goal was to hit 30% reach of the adults 18 plus market, you would be investing about $1.5 million for a national campaign. I know it's a lot of money, but if, for example, you took 20% of your budget and allocated it to streaming, you could actually hit 30% with $1 million. So now you're looking at me and saying, okay, so Rose is telling us you don't need to invest as much, or you don't need to put as much into linear. That's not what I'm obviously saying. What I'm saying is the money that you do invest works really hard, and the benefits of that added total TV approach continue to accelerate the more that you invest. This is true at a national level, at a regional level, big budgets, small budgets, all categories of advertisers. Again, we run 50 of these total TV campaigns, and these are the results that we can show. So the main takeaway, you should be considering allocating 20 to 25% of your big screen, broadcast, production quality video budgets to streaming. The net result will drive better overall reach for your campaign. So I want to show you an example. So as I mentioned, this works nationally and it works regionally. This is an example of a regional campaign that we ran with a finance client in Alberta. So they worked with Rogers Sports and Media, and we worked with them on their media mix and allocated 23% of their budget to streaming. 77% of that budget was in a mix of conventional and specialty with an NHL sponsorship, and the remaining 23% was in Rogers streaming TV video. The result was that they were able to reach 55% of the total population of Alberta. That's an audience of 2+. But the streaming, by allocating the 23%, they were able to drive 13 points of unduplicated reach to their total, which was 31% incremental. So if they just went with the streaming strategy, they only would have likely achieved that 42% of the market share. The second metric that we look at for total TV is exclusive streaming reach. Again, this is the percentage of the audience that you cannot reach with linear TV because they are the coveted cord cutters, cord nevers, whatever you want to call them. So through our research and the total TV campaigns that we've run, we know for certain that the Rogers streaming network, and likely many streaming networks, can deliver on that 70% exclusive streaming reach just by investing in the platform. What I want to show you now is an example of an advertiser in the travel category who ran a campaign with us throughout the year, and I want to compare Q1 2023 to Q1 of 2024. So they were able to increase their exclusive streaming reach from 70% to 83%, meaning 83% of their streaming campaign reached those exclusive streamers. Obviously very efficient. It also drove an incremental reach of 11%, which grew from 6% from the quarter in Q1 of last year. So how were they able to do this? 3 main tactics that they worked with us on to do this. Number 1, they increased their streaming reach or their streaming budgets from 10% to 20%. That was that sweet spot. The second thing they did was that they added in the Disney Plus platform, which in Q1 of this year was a brand new ad tier product available to the market. And the third thing they did was they worked with us to do advanced targeting, leveraging our data, to reach streaming households that are low linear penetration. So again, reaching more of those exclusive streamers. So overall, obviously investing more in streaming, adding in new streaming products, and optimizing toward those low linear households allowed them to reach the 83% exclusive streaming reach, making it far more efficient. So as I wrap up my quick presentation for you today, I want to leave you with 3 takeaways and things to consider. The first one, consider planning your video strategies cohesively. Plan, buy, optimize, measure in a total TV way. Not doing that and taking that approach could lead to wasted dollars and lose the opportunity to maximize out on some of those KPIs. The second takeaway, consider allocating 20 to 25% of your total broadcast quality video budgets to streaming. This is what's going to drive the best overall result for your campaign. And last but not least, of course, work with the Rogers Sports and Media team to actually plan a total TV campaign. We will do all of the work for you. Buy your linear, buy your streaming. We will aggregate the results. We will share the findings with you. I promise they will be excellent and illuminating. Thank you so much for your time today. You can come chat with me outside.